Ladies and gentlemen, I have covered the chess games of a lot of different people, but the one that I'm going to cover today will absolutely blow your mind. This is not clickbait. Keanu Reeves played chess in public, on camera. And I'm going to break down the two games that he played in today's video. In case you don't know who that is, he's an extremely accomplished individual, but even beyond that, just from reading things and hearing things, he's also an incredible person, which also fuels a little bit of the lore about the games in this video. Keanu Reeves, of course, we're talking about, John Wick, Matrix. If you haven't seen those movies, you really should. But this story actually has two protagonists. The other one is named Bianca Mitchell Avila. And she emailed Keanu Reeves like half a decade ago and said, hey, I have this idea. I want to make a short film using chess as a medium, and it's kind of like a coming-of-age story. And they picked it up, and Keanu Reeves mentored her, and then they finally met and got to play a game live at, like, the premiere of Mad Women's Game. So as much as this is a breakdown of how good Keanu Reeves is at chess, it's also a breakdown of how good Bianca is at chess. Just, Keanu Reeves is kind of, he's kind of a big deal, right? So that's kind of crazy that Keanu Reeves mentored, I think he mentored Bianca when she was like 15, 16 years old, trying to become a filmmaker. So it's really incredible stuff. And it goes to show you all, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Okay? So really, get out there, put yourself out there, provide high quality stuff, work hard, and look what we can accomplish. So in the first game, we will look at it through the eyes of Neo, all right, in the Matrix. E4, E5, the first game, very traditional approach. Knight F3 played by Bianca, knight to C6. We have bishop C4. Now, the beautiful thing about the Italian opening is that it is played on stage at a premiere of a movie, of a film, and it's also played in the most elite and prestigious tournaments ever. And it was also played like in the 1600s when instead of moving the pieces on the chessboard, people were still chewing on them and shoving them up their ass. Like, the Italian is immortal. It is an opening that is just flawless. In this game, knight f6 is played by Keanu, getting the knights out, and now white has multiple options. Defending the pawn in the middle of the board, or going knight g5 and looking for fried liver. Maybe Bianca wasn't trying to cheese him. I mean, it would have been pretty cool if Keanu, gets hit with knight g5, starts doing all sorts of matrix stuff, plays the Traxler counterattack, and then launches in with queen h4. I mean, that would have been pretty badass, all right? Keanu, next time, we're going to train, and you are going to absolutely eviscerate everybody. So, when I organize my chess tournament, Keanu, we're going to have a training arc. But knight c3 played by Bianca, completely normal. And now the move a6, which as far as I'm concerned is not a blunder, but, black should probably develop a dark squared bishop, although I don't hate the move a6. It's a move. White plays d3, good move. White should also probably castle. Keanu plays bishop b4, pinning the knight to the king. So far, a very balanced game, but as we see the move a6, it's kind of a waste of a tempo. It's kind of a waste of a move. You didn't have to play that move. A better move is h6 at least, because then you would stop the pin. Your king would be a little bit more safe, but whatever. A3. Now at this point, ironically, it's actually better for black to trade the bishop for the knight, believe it or not. Even though normally the bishop for the knight trade is not very good here, it's good because you clear out a piece that otherwise would need to be a little bit passive, and then you can, fight for the middle. You can build up a bunch of pawns on the dark squares however you want to play it. Doesn't particularly matter. Bishop a5 is reasonable. Bianca chases Keanu's bishop away, and now she castles. And now I kind of see he's going full John Wick. I'm going to stop the movie references because I'm going to be very honest. I have no idea what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to sound like an uncle. I guess it makes sense. I'm 30. I'm an unk. But it is what it is. Bishop e3. Bishop e3 is a good move. And every person at some point in their chess career faces a position like this where it's like, do I take? Do I ignore and get taken? Do I block? What do I do? In this instance, you don't want really to be taken necessarily because you would be damaging your pawn structure. But unfortunately, you don't have a choice. Like, if you take towards the center, in general, that's good. Away from the center, not so good. Your pawns don't really want to float off on the other side of the board. But the alternative is also bad. This really gives white a very powerful rook. This is something I cover in my next book, How to Win at Chess Next Level. When you trade pieces in chess as a beginner or an intermediate, you need to keep track of what is opening up, what is happening, right? You need to observe how the position changes and what squares are now controlled, what pieces have more vision, etc. This square is more controlled and there's problems over here. If I give you this position and I tell you, you have to make a move in 2 seconds or I hit you in the head with a gigantic baseball bat, but it's not particularly hard. It's made of foam. It's one of those ones that you can win in the carnival. But if you don't make a move in 2 seconds, I will hit you with it. Castles. You got a castle. And then we need to finish up our development and then we proceed with the game. Going into battle without castling, this is about the last moment. Now we need to castle. We can trade and then castle, but we got a castle. When you go into battle and you are not prepared, I want you to think of it very rationally. The other side has set up a perfect position, right? You cannot go off riding on a horse. Knight g4 simply doesn't work. Now, I get the idea. Keanu thought he was sneaky. Problem is, this is a very peculiar moment where the knight actually defends backwards. So now, white can win time. And this is going to be very bad. Because actually, that's what Bianca did, because she was like, wait a minute, he just has to go here. And now it's very bad for black, because, you know, you trade, and then this is open, and it's all sorts of bad stuff. But Keanu makes a mistake. I feel like there was a little bit of nerves in this first game, because you're playing chess. And let me tell you, you could be an extremely accomplished actor, musician, comedian, athlete, entrepreneur. Chess has a very unique way of bringing out nerves in you never thought were there. And this is about the last moment. Black can castle and simply be down material, but after bishop d7, Bianca is merciless here. First of all, she probably has a bishop sacrifice if she wants it, and she can play like knight takes, and again, that powerful rook as a result of that trade. But she actually does something very slow. She just maneuvers her queen. She wants to put the queen over there. Queen e7, the knight jumps in immediately, and just like queen f2, like, oh my, what is this, Magnus Carlsen Mitchell? Like, what, just like a slow grind, and then, you know, knight e7, and she plays knight takes e5. Very clean technique, and queen takes f7 checkmate. Now, Keanu had a very good position, but then he blundered, and then he couldn't, you know, it's not the first mistake in chess that gets you, it's usually the second one, and the second one was not castling. But then he took a deep breath. And as I'm sure many successful and accomplished people do, they gather themselves, and this next game was a banger. He got the white pieces, and Keanu just went to battle, okay? e4, now, first of all, Bianca with the Caro-Kann defense, inspired maybe by yours truly, mentored in film by Keanu Reeves, and mentored in black openings by GothamChess? I have no idea. I'm just completely taking credit for it. And for the record, I only take credit for your Caro-Kann if you do well with it. I sometimes run into, you know, people in the supermarket or at a fan event or at a chess tournament. They're like, I actually learned the Caro-Kann from you. I don't know why you sound like a strange Swedish person when you talk to me, even if you're American, but that's what you all sound like. And I'm like, oh yeah, is it good? And they're like, yeah, well, no, I don't win a lot with it, but I learned it from you. And it's just like, yeah, bye. Anyway, d5. Keanu, very chill, d4, traded in the middle, plays the move d4, knight f6, and now this game, we're going John Wick in this one. Bishop comes out to g5, all right. I want to develop the bishop, I need him to castle his king. He learns from the previous game, bishop d3 played, great move, looking to trade, and then looking to go here. And this next move by black, e6, is indeed defending the bishop, but it's a very big mistake. It is a very big mistake because after you trade, there is a nasty exploitation of the black position here. If we just slow play this like the previous game and you say, Gotham, you said castle, just, yes, follow the principles, but in some opening positions, you will have concrete opportunities to get an advantage, which don't follow any sort of generalities. And in this position, with the open king and the bishop hitting the knight, it would be really wonderful if we took this knight and black was forced to take with a pawn, right? Because if we did this would be completely awful for black. Isolated tripled stacked pawns. Here's the problem. They're going to go here. So what you do is you actually give a check first, and now it doesn't matter what blocks, because the next move is this, and you will force them to triple their pawns, then you will be completely winning because these pawns are absolutely terrible and you will slowly pick them off one by one. Now, instead, he castled, which is, frankly speaking, fine. Knight c6, and now this move, c4. Again, this is still there. And it's only going to get more powerful because now you don't even have to check with the queen. You can check with the rook, which is almost always better. I see a lot of beginners bringing their queen to this file, but the rook is really the powerful one. The rook does a very easy job, and the queen is reserved for these kind of like blitzes, you know, where the queen darts out, then goes diagonally, etc. c4 is also a reasonable move, but it allows black to, you know, get back into the game by playing solid and castling. She plays queen d7, which again, this is vicious, but even now you can do this. Now, this is a skill that every aspiring intermediate player has to have in their toolbox. In this position, if I gave you this position, and your rating was anywhere from like 800 to 1400, you need to tell me bishop takes bishop, bishop takes knight. Those are the next two moves here 100% of the time, without an exception. You might alter it and go like this, but then I can actually play this first. Oops. And then you only double one set of your pawns. You have to take the bishop, and then you have to take the knight. And if you don't understand why that transformation is good, that's fine. You still have room to grow in chess. Now, rook e1, fine. I get what he's trying to set up, but she blocks now. And this is maybe the last moment to try to do some damage. But Keanu, you know, and for the record, if you don't see that transformation, you should still ask yourself, have I gotten all my pieces into the game? And the knight should come here, if you haven't, right? He goes h3, which I see what he does this a lot, right? He's playing h3 and a3, and in chess, you build up your habits. Unless a coach is actively yelling at you, telling you not to do something, it's the same in any sport, like tennis or whatever. You build up a certain thing that you do, and then your body gets used to it. You know, your chess brain gets used to it. Castles. And now I don't like this move. This is not the move. This is not a move fitted to the type of characters that Mr. Reeves plays. He goes backwards. No, we need to develop that killer instinct. We need to develop that confidence. We need to develop that energy. We got to get the knight into the game. We got to fight. We got to go knight e5. We got to chop. We got to chop. We got to do some, you know, something a little bit more emphatic. Even this move is good. You double the pawns. You weaken the center. Something like that. Bishop e2. I'm not a huge fan of stepping back because you know what happens when you step back against a very qualified opponent? They step forward if they are able. They establish dominance in the center. The bishops now look at each other, right? And now, Keanu, again, you got to trade the bishop for the bishop. That's what you really should do, because at least it's sort of mirror image. You don't want to go backwards. He shook. Bianca is instilling fear in a man whose characters instilled fear in many others. And she takes. This is a very good trade. By the way, remember taking away from the center? Hey, a couple moves ago, guys, if this had happened, look what's the difference. You take towards the center. Your king is fortified, right? It's very difficult to get down here. Problem in this game is now white's king isn't looking too good. Now here with black, another transformation question. You have the bishop pair. The king is a little bit weak. I'm asking you a question. What should you do here in 2 seconds? You got to take this pawn. Got to take this pawn and open up the position like this. Okay? So she goes queen d6, which is fine. I don't mind this move at all, targeting that weak pawn. And Keanu goes knight c3, and Bianca snipes this pawn. But by the way, there also could have been pawn takes c4 first, and here you can actually take on d5. This is still anybody's game. But as you can tell, he's backing up. He goes bishop here, bishop here, bishop here. A lot of retreating moves. She smells blood, right? Bishop d6 now. She's going full John Wick. All right, bishop and the queen creating a battery to that h2 square. You just got to get rid of the knight, and then there's going to be a checkmating attack. He jumps into the e5 square, and now chaos. Absolute chaos here. So the simple thing you do here is you just take this knight. You take the knight, you take with the bishop. This is a bulldozer, and it's going to be bad news for white very soon. Bianca makes a mistake. She played great so far in both games. But now she makes a mistake, and instead of taking the knight, she takes the pawn. She thought that after queen takes d4, she would win this anyway, but actually everything in white's position is completely protected now. It's just the loss of a knight for a pawn, and Keanu is completely back into the game. Incredibly, white is not even winning, despite being up a full piece, because white's king is so weak. In chess, the most important thing is to evaluate a material. Oh my God, that was terrible English. In chess, the two most important ways to evaluate a position are material and king safety, okay? And so here, white's king safety is not very good. Black also has several extra pawns for that piece, and after something like rook c8, you know, you are threatening all sorts of nasty business. Now, the move that she plays is also great, which is the move f6. It's a nice move, trying to remove the knight. The problem is, the most natural retreating move also guards against the attack. Keanu is now winning. It took like 35 moves. But white is winning, but she is ruthless. Rook c8, absolutely sneaky. And Keanu has to spot that this is the real threat. It has nothing to do with this. What he saw is the rook is targeting my pawn, but I can take. That's a very normal move. But now she counters him with bishop c5, and she is back in business. By the way, Bianca, I don't know if she's a ranked chess player. She must be, right? I looked up her FIDE rating. But, I mean, she's obviously playing like she's like minimum 1500. I mean, I don't know what her US chess rating is, but minimum that, and I haven't seen enough, right? I mean, she's clearly very strong. So Keanu has to sacrifice the queen for the bishop, but yo, he gets the pawn to e6. It's not over. He has a knight and a very powerful pawn for a queen, and people who are intermediate and advanced still struggle with defending against passed pawns. She goes rook d8, which is not a great move. I don't like that move. I would have immediately monitored the pawn. She goes here. He pushes. He has the wherewithal to realize, like, he's got to get his pawn over here. And now she goes here. And so for this move and this move only, white needs to bring more firepower to this game and get that rook cleared out. And Keanu, clutch as hell, moves the rook to d1. And rook to d8 is right there. Here with black, you have to retreat and win this pawn. That retreat stops any infiltration. White can't jump really in with the knight. Rook e7 is next, and then you go on to win. Maybe you go on to win, by the way, because it's still not very clear. But Bianca here goes for the rook, which is not the move. That is absolutely not the move. And Keanu is back in the game. The rook is going to be removed from its position. Here, black has to play king f7 or bishop to g6. You either have to defend with your king or you have to retreat with your bishop and protect your rook. You obviously cannot take. What you cannot defend with is your queen. In general, folks, if you can defend with less powerful pieces, in this case, the king is also trying to win this pawn and unpinning, but something like the bishop, you cannot guard with the queen. The queen is simply too powerful of a piece. There is always going to be an issue. Right now, white can play knight h4. White can chase away the queen. White can also play bishop b5, targeting the rook. It's over. Keanu plays this move. He removes the queen from the defense of the rook on e8. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable scenes. The comeback from Mr. Reeves is generational. If the queen goes to h5, you would play g4. So it doesn't really matter. The queen has to go here, and now white has to play a clutch move. That is the target. Bishop b5 attacking the rook, and white wins. Because here, you can't take. You have to lose the rook for the bishop. Then you go here. I take you, and knight d6, and I force, and I make the queen, and your bishop is just gone, and all my pieces are on the dark square, so your light square bishop's not doing anything. Keanu Reeves could have pulled off a generational comeback. We would have had to have a rubber match, but she defended Bianca, and in this position, Keanu chased the bishop, which is too slow of a move. Folks, you gotta understand the hot spot of the position. Everything is right there, right for this moment. This bishop is out of the game. The way you can think about this, if you can't pull up like a forcing move and win the game with a combo, you just gotta think, what is my worst piece? What's a piece that's not doing anything? You could argue it's the knight, but you don't have a way to move it forward. But it's this bishop. And if you look, that is one of the only safe moves that you have, and it's actually an attacking move, right? I also wouldn't have hated this, followed by bishop b5. The difference is that now black gets a move, and black will go bishop a4, and then maybe protect from the corner. But anyway, rook e2, bishop d3, and This is just the one move blunder. So both players now, I think, a little bit fatigued, maybe a little bit low on time. The rook can come back. That is a free bishop, which would leave white in a position of 2 knights and a bishop for a queen, but then black would be able to get rid of this pawn. Not right away, apparently, but rook e5, I mean, a little bit too much, but that's the point. But sadly here, again, Keanu just wasn't trusting the killer instinct. He saw the rook was hanging, he went rook d2, and now the vision has been taken off this pawn. But black here also makes a mistake, takes here. And now if this rook comes back, the game is equal. But sadly, I think both players here missing some stuff. Keanu goes here and forgets that these rooks have been staring at each other, and now you can take, and now you can take. And look, the 2 knights and the bishop can survive, but Bianca here, absolutely ruthless, wins the knight on c3. And, you know, Keanu gave a check. She went king h8. She could have taken, but we have knight f4, king h2. I think somewhere here there was like another check that was played, and, you know, it doesn't really matter. Rook c1, Keanu surrendered because bishop f1, rook f1 would be mate. This game was a banger. All right, I gotta say, I mean, I'm looking at this. I don't know what my best guess the elo is, but I mean, I think Bianca's clearly an experienced player. I mean, if she just learned chess during COVID, I probably should have looked this up before. But I looked up a lot of stuff, like how to pronounce people's names and the background of Mad Women's game and stuff like that. But I should have looked up her chess history. But anyway, she's clearly a more experienced player. I mean, if I had to guess from these 2 games, Keanu Reeves is probably around 800 rapid on chess.com. That's what I would say. And also, it's harder to play over the board if you don't play too much online. I mean, he played amazing in this game. In the first game, it was, you know, it was just... But I think he was also outmatched a little bit. Bianca, quite strong. So, anyway, that was a very rare case of watching documented footage of one of the most, you know, accomplished and well-known actors in so many incredible things that we have watched. Hopefully, you have. Play chess. And film it, you know? So shout out to him, shout out to Bianca for her work, and I will always bring you such things like this in the future, should they happen. That is all I have for you today, folks. A friendly reminder, you can pre-order a book. We are chasing a 2nd New York Times bestseller, so if any of my content at any point over the years helped you with your chess, you can probably still get a signed copy. There might be like 100 of them left. If the link still says add to cart in Strand, you can get it. It's available signed in Canada and Australia as well. I think they might be sold out in the UK. And also I'm going on tour, so see you in either Köln, Antwerp, Amsterdam, Zurich. I'm missing one. There's another one in there. Zurich, Paris, Amsterdam. It's going to be awesome. Just, you'll get out of here.